Tanking up your car today can be quite the wallet-busting experience. Thankfully though, we've got some cheaper and cleaner options. Electric cars are slowly increasing and there's been a sort of resurgence with CNG. Just a few days ago we had the Celerio CNG launched, and hot on the heels was this, the Tata Tiago CNG. Now, Tata have launched the CNG version in the Tiago, the car we have today, and also the Tigor. And what they've done is they've also taken this opportunity to also spruce up the car a bit. So you have a few new features and of course a new shade, and that's the car we have today. I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but it's not really black. It's a very rich purple, so Tata call it plum. It's got a metallic finish to it too. It does look quite nice. Now, we're going to spend the whole day, of course, driving it, and I'll take you around and show you all around the car. But since I'm here, I'm sure you're waiting to see what it's like in the boot, right? So, well, let's have a look. As you would know, the CNG tank has been added, and what you have as a result is this. Boot space is entirely taken up. What does it do to the spare tire? Actually, the spare sits underneath there, and if you were to remove it, you've got to flip down the backrest and take it out from the passenger compartment. I'll show you how that's done in a short while. With the CNG tank in the boot, Tata have retained the full 35-litre petrol tank, and tank capacity for CNG is 60 litres. So you can get about 10 kgs of gas inside. Remember, the actual amount of gas you can fill depends on the environment temperature and even the pump system pressure. Another point to bear in mind is that CNG isn't the most accessible fuel, and filling up at a gas pump can involve long queues. So a good mileage is something that will help reduce trips to the CNG pump. Tata claim a mileage of 26.49 km per kg of gas. This isn't class leading. That distinction goes to the Celerio with a figure of 35.6. But in some very preliminary basic testing, we got about 21 km per kg with the Tiago, which isn't bad, especially when you consider a kilo of CNG cost only about 66 rupees, as against 109 rupees per litre of petrol, which in the same conditions would have given us a mileage of about 12 or 13 kilometers per litre. Powering the Tiago is the same 1.2 litre petrol engine as on the regular car, which when running on petrol makes 86 horsepower and 113 Newton meters of torque. On gas, it puts out a lower 73 horsepower and 95 Newton meters of torque, which is still class best and by a good margin too over CNG variants of the Celerio, Santro and Wagon-R. Right, so spare tire access. What you need to do is flip forward the seat base and then flip down the backrest, and if you come in and look here, this is how you access the spare. Remember, it is a space saver spare, so it is narrower in size and you will have limited speed while you're running on the spare. Tata has also provided a puncture repair kit in all variants, so you also have that as an option in case you don't want to use the spare tire. Over inside here in the Tiago CNG, things are pretty much the same as the regular car, and that is a very good thing. Now, unlike a lot of other brands and other manufacturers that limit CNG to only the lower variants, Tata offer the Tiago CNG in 4 trims. So you can have it in like a base stripped down version, and in this what we have here, which is the top end XZ Plus trim. Now the XZ Plus trim is very well loaded. If you look around, you've got a touch screen here and it's got all your expected connectivity like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The Harman sound system sounds really great. You've got climate control, electrically adjustable outside rear view mirrors, and all of the buttons and the look around the car does look nice and a little bit upmarket. So yeah, it is quite nice and a nice place to be in. As I did mention before, Tata has taken this opportunity to add a few features to the lineup, like projector headlamps and a black and beige interior color design, while the rest of the car's attributes like the interior space remains the same. However, the petrol model's 4-star NCAP rating isn't applicable to the CNG model, but Tata is confident of retaining that in a retest. In terms of differences though, While the top-end petrol gets 15-inch alloys, the CNG car gets 14-inch stylized steel rims. And of course, CNG specific requirements like a dual filler nozzle and a dual fuel gauge, which is neatly laid out. There is also a CNG petrol selector button, and interestingly, while its competitors have to start with petrol since it's easier in very cold climates, the Tiago CNG can start directly in CNG mode. So then, behind the wheel of the Tiago, how does it feel? Well, when Tata did the unveil and the press launch, they stressed on the fact that behind the wheel, you wouldn't really feel a drop in power or a sluggish kind of acceleration or performance as you do with, typical CNG vehicles. And I have to say, they have done a really good job switching between the two modes, CNG and petrol. You can barely tell the difference. Yes, in outright acceleration, there is a difference in performance. In our preliminary testing, we got about a 2-second difference of the 0 to 100 km/h dash. But for everyday driving, when you're just ambling about out on the highway or in city traffic, it's really absolutely fine, and you can't really tell that difference in power on path throttle acceleration. Road noise though is there. You can hear the tires and the coarse sort of surface beneath. You're going to have to crank up the Harman system to get rid of that. The engine too isn't the smoothest, and you can feel that typical 3-cylinder imbalance, especially at idle. On the positive side, as you'd expect of the Tiago, high-speed stability is really nice. It's something I've liked with the Tiago and the Tigor cars, and it remains the same on the CNG version too. So, steady high-speed highway cruising won't leave you worried at all. So in the city, the CNG feels just fine. Gear shifts too are quite light and fairly easy, so you're not bothered by that. And the steering effort, that's really something that I quite like, because it's not too heavy, it's not too light, it's just right. And it does return nicely. So the steering is something that's really quite nice. A lot of other cars in this category, you find the steering is really light but very lifeless. This one feels just right. And that's basically what the Tiago CNG feels like as a whole. Yes, boot space is sacrificed, it's not very fast and not the most refined either. But everything else seems just right. CNG efficiency is good, the ride is excellent, steering and handling is neat, the space inside is ample, and the car is very well equipped. And priced from 6.09 lakh to 7.52 lakh ex-showroom, it offers good value too, with a difference of about 90,000 rupees over the petrol variant. And the icing on the cake really is what Tata says is the premiumization of CNG, by offering it in 4 variants that include the base and the top end. Finally, opting for CNG does not mean letting go of creature comforts. So with the Tiago CNG, you can have your cake and eat it too.